Little context for this. First of all, we are doing this because the NFL Top 100 was such a travesty. It inspired List Week. It's also why I took on the burden of being America's official list maker.
Yeah.
And so I figured I would...
Heavy as the head.
Exactly. It would culminate with me producing the accurate top 10. One other point. Obviously, if it were most important players in the league, 9 of the top 10 would be quarterbacks because of the disproportionate impact of that position. This is not that. So it's somewhat position agnostic when we are doing the 10 best players in the league. To give you an idea of how hard it is to make it, can we show you the 10 guys who just missed?
Oh.
These would be guys in no order, 11 through 20. These are great players. You have, Bijan Robinson, by the way, shout out to him for almost making the top 10. Penei Sewell, you guys can see all of them. Josh Allen.
Bijan Robinson is top 20?
I think he's second best running back in football. That does give you a sneak preview of someone who's in the top 10. Now we go to the top 10. Number 10, the 10th best player in the league, Tyreek Hill. The 10th best player in the league. Back-to-back years, he's been almost identical. He had 170 targets and then 171 targets. He had 119 catches and then 119 catches. Since going to Tua, he's averaged 100 yards per game or more in each of those 2 seasons. He is, in my opinion, a top 2 receiver and a top 10 player and an absolute game breaker. He's the 10th best player in the sport.
Are we allowed to interrupt here?
Sure, do whatever you want.
Well, he was number 1. And
he was number 1 where?
The NFL
On that Fugazi list? Who cares?
Well, then he started to tweet us and tweet you, and I came to your defense.
Again, I'm giving him respect. I haven't had a Jamar Chase. I haven't had a CeeDee Lamb. I'm not taking everyone on this list. But what's gosh darn it? What's 53 times 32? It's like 1,750?
No,
1,750 guys. Check it out. I bet it's close. It's like 1,700 plus players in the league. I have
Top
10. Second in his position.
1696.
Number 9. Thank you.
Wow.
TJ Watt. In the last 4 years, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 39-19-1 when he plays. They are 1-10 when he doesn't. I'm not a quarterback wins guy, so I'm certainly not an edge rusher wins guy, but that is compelling.
Something.
And his ability to impact the game and affect the quarterback through traditional stats as far as sacks and all of that, but then also the more, I don't want to say advanced stats, but pressures and things like that. He changes the way the Steelers run. He's the 9th best player in football. Number 8, Chris Jones. He is now that Aaron Donald is gone, the consensus best D tackle in football. He has found a way in each of the past 2 years to play his absolute best football in the absolute biggest moments. He changes the math on how you have to block the Chiefs' edges because a lot of teams you have to double the edge. For the Chiefs, you must double him, and then on big passing downs, they put him out on the edge, and he affects the game. Chris Jones comes in number 8. His teammate, Travis Kelce, comes in number 7. In the last 5 years, when the Chiefs have won 3 Super Bowls, in those playoff runs, he averages 92 yards per game. He has 17 touchdowns in 16 playoff games, and he catches 84% of the balls thrown his way.
Wow.
He is number 1 in the NFL all-time list in playoff yards per game and playoff catches, and he is number 2 on the all-time list in playoff touchdowns and playoff yards. That's not amongst tight ends. That's amongst all players of any position. One more playoff run, he'll be number 1 across the board. And last year, in the final 3 games of the postseason, he caught 93% of the balls thrown his way. He's the 7th best player in the league. Number 6, Christian McCaffrey. What's the best 5-game stretch of Jimmy Garoppolo's career? The 5 games he played with Christian McCaffrey. Since he's been in San opinion, I think he's elevated Brock Purdy to MVP contender. He is in the Super Bowl, 80 yards rushing, 80 yards receiving. He is a do-it-all back who is the most valuable weapon out of the backfield in the NFL. He's number 6. Number 5, the most disrespected man on the NFL Top 100, Joe Burrow. He wasn't in the top 30 of the NFL Top 100. When he's healthy, they win. when he's healthy, he puts up numbers, he distributes the ball, they play, despite the fact that they have gotten off to slow starts, they find a way to win road playoff games when need be. Joe Burrow, in my opinion, is the second best quarterback in the league, bar none, and he's a top 5 player. Number 4, the best defensive player in football, Myles Garrett. 100 career games, Greg. In those 100 career games, 88 sacks, 94 tackles for loss, 17 forced fumbles, 172 quarterback hits, 173 if you include me conked Mason with the helmet. He is 2 or 3 massive impact plays per game, double teamed, every snap of his career basically, it doesn't matter. Number 3, the best receiver in the league, Justin Jefferson. 99 yards per game for his career, a touchdown every other game for his career. That is including obviously his rookie season, so you would imagine those numbers will only go up in the meantime. While last year was the first year he had to deal with bad quarterback play, he's never had the benefit of truly elite quarterback play. It doesn't matter. If people are going to believe Sam Darnold's going to have a great year or a good year, it's going to be because of him. Now to number 2, the second best player in football, Trent Williams. 11 straight Pro Bowls, 3 straight first-team All-Pros. As automatic as the tush push was last year, you know what was just as automatic on 3rd and 2? Just run left. Run left behind Trent Williams with Christian McCaffrey. Kyle Shanahan stopped doing that thing where, Greg, remember when he put him in motion and let him go crush somebody? And I believe to this day that's because Goodell put in a phone call. Like, it's dangerous, guys. You can't have Trent Williams out here on the move. And obviously at number 1, the best player in the league, the best player any of us have ever seen, the 2-time defending Super Bowl champion, 2-time defending Super Bowl MVP, 3-time Super Bowl champion, whose worst year of his career is 12 wins and an AFC championship game loss in overtime, Patrick Mahomes. That is the actual top 10 players in the league. And I would just ask, if we compare that top 10 to the NFL's list, you tell me, even if you don't agree with all of it perfectly, do you think having Joe Burrow 39th invalidates the list? Do you think having Justin Jefferson 18th invalidates the list? Do you think having 3 guys ahead of Patrick Mahomes invalidates the list? I do.
I mean, it's not bad.
So there it is.
You did a good job there,
Greg?
I mean, there's a little discrepancy in the difference between the 2 lists.
What do you mean?
The NFL's top 100 list is based on
It's just said vote on the top 100 players in the league.
last season.
Well, they just say They just say vote. They literally just hand them.
Yours is like,
Well, it can't just be last season because Aaron Rodgers made the list. It's a rich tapestry, and my tapestry is richer.
Let me focus on this guy, because I really think you have something against this guy, and it's Tyreek Hill, the number 10. Like, this is just.
I love Tyreek.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you? You mean the guy that's on the board with the yellow around his face
because he's
the Hall of Famer?
Listen,
of
the board must be fair.
Like when you talk about this guy and you talk about impact and importance and all what he's been able to do to elevate a franchise and make them relevant and make a quarterback that we don't believe that if he even had this guy, what we would even be talking about. Like, he's done it with Patrick Mahomes. He's done it with now, obviously, Tua Tagovailoa. Like, to have him at number 10 and he comes in at number 1, and he's probably one of the most feared individuals in this league, bar none. No question. I'm not going to even poke at the rest of the list, because I will poke. The one that I want to poke at is Travis Kelce. And you know I like Travis Kelce. But at this stage,
Travis Kelce.
At this stage in his career, to have him at top 10, like, no.
Hold on. Can I ask you an honest question?
Yes.
Do you think last year, last year, when the playoffs started, if you could switch him out, the Chiefs would want to do that?
I get all of that. I'm not saying he's an unbelievable player. The best, in my opinion, the best tight end to do it. What I'm saying, when I look at these individuals on this list, I'm looking at, okay, can I put them anywhere in the National Football League and they impact?
Well, that's totally fair. I think another thing to look at is
he's the one on this list that I would question.
If any of these 2 guys were ever at one point on the same team and a team had to decide we got to trade one, keep one, what would they do and how would they do afterwards? In that theoretical situation, how do you think it would go? So let me ask you this, because you're so mad at me about Tyreek saying it's so disrespectful. Let's just, for the sake of argument,
the gap between he and Justin Jefferson is that big?
Well, that's the question I was going to ask you. Aside from Travis, is there a player on there that you think Tyreek is better than? Is there someone on there other than Travis that you clearly, because I don't. And again, I
Christian
think
McCaffrey.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, all right, fair. I didn't think you'd say that. That's fair. I get that, the value of running back versus wide receiver. Again, I'm pro Tyreek Hill. I want him in the Chiefs Ring of Honor. The board is the board. I'm not in charge of the board. The people do it. What do you mean?
Who's in charge of the board?
Well,
rules of the
I mean,
board.
it's just rules. I have to. I mean,
This
it's
is
like
not
the
the time.
Supreme Court
But I would
with
love to know the rules of the board.
Yeah.
No,
It feels like you're in charge of it, but you're actually just interpreting
I'm
rules.
just right. Exactly.
You can't diss Patrick Mahomes
That
and
is
the Chiefs.
right. I mean,
just the
I'm
board.
the custodian of the board.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And you
Now you're
also
the
have a
custodian.
lifetime appointment.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Board. You'll be 80 years old as a senior
my
citizen.
God.
You think I want to do this? You think I want to have the mayor of
There's
Dallas
a
mad
personal
at me?
bias against
I
Tyreek
like
Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, and so everybody says that. You know, I actually like this guy, and then they talk
I
about
have him 10th in the league, second in his position.
And you think that that's...
I think you think Justin Jefferson's better than him too.
I didn't say that.
Well, exactly.
I do.
Exactly.
I do believe that.
No, right. So we have. So under the wide
I don't think
receiver
the gap
rankings-
is that
okay,
big.
That's fine. Go ahead. Wild. What's up?
You know, I live my life by a simple motto that Coach Mangini taught me.
What's
You don't need to put out another man's candle to make yours shine brighter.
Yeah.
So I don't want to remove anyone from this top 10
Right.
list
Because that would.
because
Yeah. Conviction.
I don't want to.
Exactly. So
If
you're
I
just
had
gonna-
to,
you're just gonna make it a
if
top
I had
11.
to take a quarterback off, I might take Joe Burrow, who was hurt not once but twice, and he actually played early on and was horrible. And I think he was the worst quarterback in the league statistically when he was playing through the injury. Then he had a stretch there where he was the best quarterback of the league. Then he showed up with a mysterious wrist injury, and then he sat out. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson just kept on winning his regular season games. When he plays against Joe Burrow, he beats him. I think he's 4-1 against Joe Burrow. Josh, check me on that. And had another MVP. Now, did he show up in the playoff game? He didn't play as well as probably he could have. But I don't know what the argument is that all of a sudden Joe Burrow is better than the two-time defending MVP. And if we go to the honorable mention
I was going to
section,
he's not even an honorable
he didn't
mention.
even make the honorable mention section. You know what I might do as a segment, just to have a brainstorm
On the-
on the air? I might have a Lamar Jackson board.
Yeah, that.
I'm going to talk to Kay about ordering us
disrespectful.
another bulletin board, purple.
So I don't. So here's the thing. I knew that was going to come up because I knew it was going to come across as disrespectful. I believe MVP, and I think it has been shown, has a skew towards the quarterback position, as it maybe should, because they're valuable in the name. I made very clear on this list we were not going to have a quarterback skew. We had 3 quarterbacks in the top 20. Only edge rusher, there was more. I think there were 4 because Crosby and Micah were left off it. I don't think Lamar is a top 3 quarterback. I don't. I think that Joe, obviously Patrick, and Josh Allen are better than him. And so he missed out. Again, I come across often as a Lamar Jackson critic because I tell people that the 4 seasons he's made the playoffs, the worst game of his entire year was in the playoffs. The 4 years he's made the playoffs, the fewest points they scored all year was in the playoffs. And I think that is a real concern for them moving forward. So to me, those other guys I had above him. I understand it is an unpopular opinion. And nobody wants to be anti-Lamar because he is incredibly popular. He is incredibly likable because he dealt with so much unfair criticism early. All of those things. Which is why being America's most accurate list maker is such a burden. Because it would be easy and fun to just throw him in the... No, if I put him in the honorable mention in place of Max Crosby, nobody's mad at me.
No.
But I just have to be honest. If I had him in there in place of Sauce Gardner, Jet fans hate me anyway. What does it matter? But I have to be honest. I think those guys are better than Lamar Jackson over the breadth and width of a full season start to finish. That's how I feel. So I understand that you're all of a sudden a big MVPs guy. I get that.
I'm a wins guy.
You're a wins guy.
I'm a wins guy.
But for Lamar, it has to just be a regular season.
I'm also a
guy.
Chiefs defense's great guy.
Yeah, Chiefs defense
Good
is great.
punch out at the end there.
The punch out is not what ended that football game.
Fair, it
Him
saved the
throwing
season.
into triple coverage in the end zone is what ended that
Can I
football
please
game.
ask one question to you?
Yeah, then we got to you on kind of.
I know. This list, is there anyone on this list you can take and put them in any other uniform and they just...
Cook?
No, they don't cook.
Oh, they don't put
Yeah.
anyone on the list that if you
If there
change...
was one player on your list that you can change his team,
And they would be bad?
And he would be a completely different player.
Yes, Joe Burrow if he was on the Chiefs because he wouldn't play. But aside from that, no.
Good pick.
Travis Kelce anywhere else.
Oh, stop it. Oh, my gosh.
Answer the question.
Travis Kelce
You're always
would
trying
be
to
the
switch
greatest
guys.
tight end anywhere at any time. He was on pace to be the greatest tight end when Alex Smith was his quarterback. I'm not going to take Travis Kelce slander from you on the show. I'm not going to take it.
Josh, are you in charge of ordering boards?
We're not getting. No, he's not.
Well, can you order a purple bulletin
Hey,
board?
Ian
O'Connor is